Hey guys, welcome back to my channel and welcome to a very exciting day in my life. So I'm pretty pumped because summer up here in North Idaho has officially started and it's been jam-packed with super fun activities for our whole family, and I'm really excited to bring you guys along. I'm also going to be sharing a little bit of interesting cooking that I did within this video. I was kind of utilizing some ingredients in a different way, and I'm also going to be giving you guys an update of our garden. It was ironic because someone actually asked in the last video for an update, so here we are. We actually harvested our garlic on this day, which was very exciting because it's 9 months in the making, so I'm excited to bring you along. Also, before we hop right in, I want to give a special shout out to all of my patrons. Thank you so much to all of you that have already gone over to my Patreon, and to those of you that don't know, I actually upload exclusive content onto Patreon. The content that I've been uploading there is more based on commentary. The topics I cover over there are definitely a little more controversial. I recently uploaded a video with my take on vaccine mandates, passports, lockdowns, and masks, and I just really appreciate the space that we've built over there. So I'm gonna go ahead and leave that linked down below, and with all of that being said, let's hop right in. So it has been really warm recently, and because of that, we have gotten to spend way more time at the lake. It's kind of funny because I actually feel like the lake is warmer this year than it was last year. And it's really been fun to see Logan get more and more comfortable with the water. On this day, he went a lot deeper in the water than he's ever gone, and he had a lot of fun just splashing around the shoreline with us while we just kicked back, relaxed, and did a little bit of swimming and soaking up of the sunshine.
It's Logan.
That's Logan. Our goal is to create as many lake memories as possible this summer, so we have beautiful things to think back on when we're sitting in the snow this winter. So this was actually on a different day, but my parents recently purchased this Oru kayak. The people who made this are actually big fans of origami, and so as you can see, that's kind of the inspiration behind this kayak. It's completely foldable and portable, and this boat rides like a dream. So on this day, my dad and I made our way out, just the two of us, to go kayak on Lake Coeur d'Alene, and it was so beautiful, and I was really proud of us and our ability to put this up and take this down, and I just had to film the deconstruction after our kayak ride because I thought this was just so cool. So speaking of beautiful memories, on this night, we were actually invited to the coolest concert at the Coeur d'Alene Music Conservatory. And these guys are so talented, it's crazy. We had so much fun, and I want you guys to kind of hear some of these clips. So I'm gonna just let you listen. What I think is really cool about the Music Conservatory of Coeur d'Alene is that the director really has a goal to help train people in a way that really elevates music and helps them, and particularly the youth, really understand music. And I think that that's so cool. So if you guys watched my last day in my life, you saw that I made a broccoli cheddar egg bake, which was delicious, and I saved the stem of the broccoli because I've seen a lot of people on Pinterest talk about using the broccoli stem. And so I was very excited to use it on this day. So I grated up my broccoli stem that I had stored in the fridge, and then I cut up some onions, and then I sauteed this mixture in a little bit of butter, salt, and pepper and let that cook down. I also threw in some garlic powder and a little bit of onion powder because why not? And I decided that I wanted to use this for a filling in my omelet. Now, I didn't use all of my broccoli stem, and I ended up using it a little bit later in this video. But like I said, I started off by sauteing it, and then I used that filling for an omelet. And guys, let me just tell you, this was so delicious. If it wasn't for Pinterest and the internet, I would have never thought to use my broccoli stems. And I'm really glad that I learned about this because obviously it makes your food go farther. And like I said, this made for a delicious omelet. By the way, I put some grated cheddar cheese in this omelet as well. And then I cut some chives from our garden and I threw that on top. We also decided to blend up some smoothies with cherries and different mixed berries, lemon juice, spinach, and a little bit of honey. So on this day, I decided I wanted to make some chicken soup and make the broth ourselves. So we pulled this frozen chicken out of the freezer and I threw it in a pot with some water that was from my Berkey filter, which by the way, my Berkey review is probably coming out next week, so I'm very excited about that. Anyways, I put the chicken in the pot along with some onion, garlic, carrots, and a bay leaf because that's what I had on hand. And then while that soaked, I moved forward with pulling some dried garbanzo beans out of the bag and putting them in a pot with some water to boil because I knew I wanted to make some hummus in the next day or two. Now, while that was soaking, I simultaneously made some taco meat seasoning. So I mixed all of the seasoning together in this little jar and shook them up. And then I made some corn flour tortillas. Now, a couple of you have asked me to make videos on this, and I can show it more in depth at some point, but it's super easy. I literally just follow the directions on the package, which is basically just mixing the flour with some warm water and salt. And then, as you can see, we own a tortilla press and we pressed the tortilla between our parchment paper and then laid that flat on the pan to cook. And it only takes about 60 to 90 seconds per side, at least for us, to cook the tortillas. And once they're cooked, we like to store them in like a kitchen towel on the counter till we're ready to eat them. And on this day, this was actually like hours beforehand and we were gonna fry the tortillas later, but we wanted to get moving on the tortilla making. So we did that and then let the garbanzo beans continue to cook on the stovetop. Guys, our raspberries are finally starting to ripen and we can't even let them ripen enough to pick and actually bring inside. We're just eating them like super fast off the bush and they're so delicious. And then our bean plants that were grown from seed are starting to turn into little mini bushes. And I actually think those flowers are going to grow into beans. And we have 4 different types of bean plants growing right now. So I'm excited to see what works. Then we decided to pause a moment and water the garden. As you can see, we have a lot of plants and weeds just kind of growing throughout our garden. We like to imagine it gives it a whimsical look. Our tomatoes are slowly growing. I kind of feel like everything is slowly growing this year. We're obviously new to this climate, so we're having some success, but things are just growing, like I said, a little bit slower. But then on this day, it was very exciting because we felt like it was finally time to harvest our garlic. Now, what was cool about this is before we even moved into the house, Dan had run over here last fall one day and was like, it's getting late, we have to plant the garlic. And so he did it, he got it in the ground, and now here we are 9 months later, because yes, garlic takes as long as a baby, harvesting our garlic. That's one of the amazing things to me about gardening is this idea of putting something in the ground and then letting the time pass anyways and harvesting something awesome. As you can see, by the way, even though it's actually picked up more speed since I filmed this, our lettuce is growing pretty slowly. I actually don't think we're growing it in the right area, but this is year 1 of gardening in this home for us guys. We already have, exciting thoughts and plans for next year's garden, God willing. So once we had harvested all the garlic, we brought it over to our stairs and we braided it. So we wanted to do this just because this is what people do. I don't know. And this is how we wanted to let them dry out. We braided about 3 garlic heads per bunch, just like a typical braid. And it was actually just a really sweet moment getting to just sit on the steps together and admire what God had allowed to grow in our ground and just have this moment together as a family. It was really sweet. So I didn't film any of the cooking for this soup, but this was like a Thai-inspired chicken soup that we put together on this night. And I've actually made it in recent videos, so you guys have totally seen me make this before, but this is what we had for dinner this night. And a soup this big also results in a nice batch of freezer meals because, yeah, this soup freezes really well. So I have been craving Dan's tuna. We call it tuna sushi because that's kind of what it is. He made it maybe like a month or two ago, and I had been craving it since. So we decided to make it for dinner on this night and pair it with a salad. So Dan started off by seasoning the fish that we had picked up at Costco, and I chopped up some pecans because I was going to candy them for our salad. So as you can see, when Dan cooks our fish, he basically just lightly sears each side in a little bit of avocado oil. And by the way, he also heavily peppers the fish before he sears it, and it's so delicious. So once the fish is seared on all four sides, he very thinly slices it up into little bites, basically. I do realize this might gross some people out who are not used to eating sushi, and I'm not generally like a huge sushi fan, but this seared tuna is so good. It really hits the spot sometimes. So as he was laying that out, I was candying our pecans in some coconut oil with salt, and then once they had gotten nice and toasted, I put in a little bit of maple syrup. You guys know that I candy pecans for just random things semi-regularly, and candied pecans on a salad are super delicious. Then I made the most delicious homemade balsamic dressing, which consisted of olive oil, balsamic vinegar, some raw honey, a little bit of mustard, garlic powder, and salt and pepper. I will try to remember to leave the link to this recipe because it's so simple, but the proportions are perfect. And Dan loved this salad, spoiler alert. So then I chopped up some organic romaine lettuce that we had picked up at Costco when we got our fish. And then it was time to construct my super delicious salad. You didn't see me chop up apples or grate Parmesan, but I did. So I started off by sprinkling on my chives that I had picked from our garden. Then I threw on my diced apples and my grated Parmesan. After the pecans had had a chance to cool, I threw those into the mix as well and topped it with my delicious salad dressing, tossed this whole salad, and oh my goodness, guys, this whole meal was so fresh and filling and satisfying. And I believe, by the way, Dan did some sriracha, chili oil, yuzu sauce, and a little soy sauce as well. I'm not sure the combo he did for the fish, but we had a few different sauces to choose from. So another random fun summer thing, we actually received a package this day from Tabitha Page. And you guys know, if you watch my videos, I love Tabitha's books. She's actually a speech pathologist, so language is really important to her. But as you can see, she's also a beautiful artist. She does all of the watercolor paintings for her books and flashcards. And we also received these magnets on this day, which Logan was super excited about. And it just adds another fun element to the kitchen for when I'm cooking. He can play with these beautiful magnets on the fridge. And that's something I really love about Tabitha's work as well, is that the art that she creates is really beautiful. So if you didn't know that she had just released this new book called Wishy Washy, now you know. It's, like I said, focused on language development, but also with this book, she integrates colors very purposefully. So Logan and I have been able to practice his colors more and just his words in general. And so he was taking a little look-see at the book, and then we decided to bring it with a glass of iced tea outside on a blanket. In our yard, we have some really tall trees, and in the afternoon, sitting under the trees on a blanket is like such a picturesque, lovely experience. So we did this on this afternoon and had a lovely time together. I can't recommend Tabitha's books enough, all of them. So the very last shot of this video I just felt like you had to see was our recent visit to a friend's farm. And they had this little car and Logan could not stop running out and hopping in the car and just like circling the whole house. And it was the cutest thing ever. So yeah, guys, that is kind of a little bit of an insight into what some of our summer days have been looking like this last week. I'm so happy with how beautiful and warm it's been here lately, and I can't wait to see what the rest of the summer holds. Thank you again to everyone who's already gone over to check out my Patreon, and I will, God willing, see you guys back here soon with another new video. All right, bye guys.